So with our rules of spelling, we're now up to rule number 12. Now, this is a huge rule and it looks at the silent E at the end of words. I couldn't believe when I started doing the research on this, there's actually 9 reasons. Some are much more common than others, but there are actually 9 reasons. Let's have a look. So here's a list of the 9 reasons. And number 1, the long vowels. That one's pretty common. People have been taught that for many years. Sometimes we call that bossy E, magic E, split digraph, V and U, C and G, and every syllable must have a vowel. But some of the others I actually had never thought about, particularly number 7. So let's work through each one at a time. So rule number 1 is where we use the letter E on the end of a word to make a long vowel sound. So for example, Tim can be turned into time by adding an E on the end of the word. So that split digraph then becomes the I sound. In Rod, add the E, we now make a split digraph and we have the word road. And there are hundreds of words that have this, and this is one that children understand. And technically this is called split digraph, not bossy E or magic E. It's a split digraph. It's 2 letters working together, but in this case they're split as opposed to being side by side. So rule number 2 goes back to a rule we've already talked about, which is that English words can't end in a V or a U. So words like have, love and give, glue, blue, argue are all very simply explained by saying, well, you just can't end a word in V or U, so therefore you have to add an E. And C and G, I think, is a rule we've also looked at previously. So the letter E following a C or a G will change its sound into a S or a J. And it can also be reasoned to one at the same time. So in face, it's actually both the split digraph, the first rule, and it's also then the C and the E working together on the end. Same in mice, whereas in voice, it's only just the C and the E working together. In the word barge, the G and the E are working now together, the E having that influence on the G to make it say the J sound. In cage, it's working both sounds. It's making the A say A, and it's also making the E is also making the G say J. And in the end of orange, we can't end orange with a J. The J isn't allowed to go on the end of an English word, so then we're going to go GE. Every syllable must have a vowel, and this helps when we're spelling words that end in LE or RE, words like apple and purple. Also in the word like centre, the R and the E there, because obviously that's not making a clear vowel sound at all. Just a note there that English spelling is usually RE and American spellings are usually ER. I always teach my children that it's all about red elephants, not elephants red, because that wouldn't make any sense. So letter E can also be used to make sure it's clear whether we're looking at a plural or not. So if we're going from cat to cats, we just add an S. However, the plural of house is houses. So the S here and the E is important because otherwise we'd be thinking the plural of how, H-O-W, is not house, H-O-U-S, because that isn't a word. The plural of whore is not horse. Horses is the plural. The word choice, the singular of that is not choi, and then we add an S to make choice. So if we want to go choices, then we've got to add that S. So it's the E, sorry, and the S together there. So that E on the end of a word like house and horse and choice shows us that that S sound is there because it's a singular, and it's not there because it's a plural like it is in cats. So it just makes the S and the E tells us it's a singular, not a plural. And sometimes letter E is just here to make words look bigger. If you spell R, A-R, it will still say R. If you spell or, A-W, it will still say or. So the E just makes it look bigger. This was one I didn't know about, was why would we go bath and bathe, cloth and clothes, breathe and breath. And the TH, when it makes its voice sound, the Z sound, where you buzz your voice box as opposed to the th sound where it's just air, the E actually is making the change in sound there. So breath is an unvoiced sound, whereas breathe, the TH has changed its sound to the voice sound, and the E is responsible for that change. That was a rule I didn't know, but it makes a lot of sense and it helps to explain this to children. Sometimes the E is needed to clarify meaning. So we've got or, as in would you like cake or biscuits, and then we've got or, as in iron ore. So the two different words need a different spelling, and the E makes a difference here. Like we've got tease. I've got lots of different types of tease in the cupboard, or don't let your brother tease you. Sound exactly the same, but we need to have that change of spelling, and the E helps to do that. And finally, the unseen reason. We don't actually know why E is on the end of done and come and giraffe and where. It just is. Sometimes we just need to know those words, unfortunately, and they can just become part of that oddball family of words that we really can't explain why. Some of these words are very, very old. I doubt giraffe is a very, very old word. And it may be that giraffe has come from another language where the E is important there, but really we couldn't find a reason why there's an E on the end of any of these words. So you don't need to necessarily teach all these to your students one at a time, one after the other, and so they can recognize each one. But having the understanding of why they're there, what the effect of that E is, and that sometimes it's just there. And sometimes it's just there to make a word bigger. But sometimes it does have that influence, particularly in the split digraph and in the words with the TH. So I hope this has helped to explain a little bit more about how the letter E is working in the English language. Watch out for more videos.